Hello folks, so just above me up here on the wall you can see we have one of our three eero Pro 6 gateway hubs. Now this is the main one that we use, this is the one that connects the internet to our property, but I've got to say these things have been absolutely fantastic. Now I do want to mention that the wall mount we're using did not come bundled with the eero Pro 6, we did have to purchase those wall mounts separately. So obviously the eero is a wireless networking mesh system, which means that you can put multiple of these around your home or business and be able to connect to the same wireless network then as you move around without losing signal. That's the intention. Now, as I mentioned, it does work exceedingly well. We live in a 400-year-old property here in the UK, and when this place was built, the walls were not intended to create strong Wi-Fi signals. Don't know why that is, but there you go. So having something like this has just been a lifesaver for us. So I'm going to give you a quick tour of our network here so you can see how we've got things set up. We actually get away with just having two of these throughout our home, and then we have a third one in an external building, which is our garage, and again it all works fantastically. Now one thing I will say, because our walls are so thick, we cannot really get away with using a wireless backhaul. Now that is going to be the standard way of setting these up because it is the simplest form of using them, and that is where the gateways themselves will communicate to one another over Wi-Fi rather than over networking cables. Now we have gone for the latter because, as I say, Wi-Fi doesn't really extend very far here. So I'm going to pick the camera up now and show you how everything is working together. Okay, so I'm carrying a light around with me as well, as it is a bit of a dark day. But yeah, here is our main gateway. This is connected to the fibre optical terminal that our supplier gave us for the internet. So that's connected to that, brings the internet into our home, and then we can network from there. So up here, I've got a whole bunch of cables. I can't put cables in the wall because they are absolutely solid concrete. One of those goes outside one of those cables and over to the garage, and the other one goes into our living room, which is where we have our second node. So I'm just going to follow that across now, take you over there. As you can see, as I've mentioned, the walls here are absolutely solid, completely solid stone, several feet thick in some places, so not ideal for Wi-Fi. But let's head on inside this room here, which is where, around the back, sorry it's a bit of a mess, we are coming close to Christmas, so I need to do a bit of tidying, but we have our second gateway here, okay, just on the wooden beam, again using one of the wall mounts that we brought, and this brings us pretty much good solid Wi-Fi all over the home. Okay, now one thing I forgot to mention is that you do only get 2 Ethernet ports with each of the eero Pro 6 hubs, which means that for the main hub that I've just shown you in the other room, I did have to connect that to a switch in order to have enough ports to cable everywhere else. So we have a gigabit internet connection. So let's pop outside now and I'll show you where the final hub is we have connected. So here I am now just outside that front room by the front door, which is where that first gateway hub was connected. And like I said, it's Christmas time, so got some snacks out for the various delivery drivers. But I'm going to take you now around the back, okay? So just come with me a moment. And here we have the garage. Now, I mentioned this is external, so it's not even connected to the house, but we still have it running on the same network. And this is where I do all of my work, a lot of my video creation, and as such I do need good solid internet. And there you can see we have the final gateway hub connected, again via a LAN cable that I'm running outside, but this gives it an absolute perfect connection, so all of my devices, whether wired or wireless, in this garage get top-notch speeds. And just as an example, I'm still in the garage here. If I run a speed test, okay, you can see our gigabit internet connection into the property is still giving us about 900 megabits, even about 30 feet away from the house itself. So yeah, the eero Pro 6 is absolutely fantastic, very versatile. Okay, so I'm back inside now. That was the actual tour. A couple of things I want to mention about the eero Pro 6 system before we finish off today though. And I want to start by saying that the connection we get is absolutely perfect in terms of when we switch between nodes, which of course, being a Wi-Fi mesh, happens automatically. So let's say I'm using my phone in this room, I walk outside over to the garage, then the connection is automatically going to switch to the eero Pro 6 in my garage on the same network. I don't need to do anything, and it is a seamless switch. I don't even notice it, okay? I have used other Wi-Fi meshes before where when the nodes need to change to your device, then you do get a bit of downtime, sometimes for up to a couple of minutes, which can be really inconvenient. That's not the case here with this system. Now, one of the reasons that we have the eero Pro 6 is, well, first off, because it means we can connect more devices to it over some of the earlier eero systems. But the most important thing, and I think this is important, this is a tri-band system. Okay, just pay attention because some of the eero systems and some other Wi-Fi meshes are only dual band, and that means a band is going to be dedicated solely to these nodes communicating to one another, which means you are only going to be getting half the rated speeds to your actual device connections. Now, of course, as with any networking setup, the speeds you get are going to be determined by multiple factors, not least of which the speed of the internet you get coming into your property. In our case, we have a gigabit fibre connection, so we're really able to push these to the limits. If I was to talk about a couple of downsides, there are some, unfortunately. First off, I already alluded to this, the fact that there are only 2 networking ports on each of these gateways is, in my opinion, not really enough. So it's a bit annoying having to connect additional switches in order to make sure that we have all the ports that we need. And the other big downside is that you cannot access the user interface from a computer. The only way you can adjust the settings is using the app. I'm not a big fan of using apps on my phone. I know many people are. I prefer to have much deeper control on a graphical user interface for a networking system on my PC. It's just not something that even works. If I type in the IP address for this gateway, then it just comes up with a page saying that it is restricted. Fortunately, you know, I haven't really had the need to adjust any settings. This has pretty much been a plug and play setup for us. And ultimately, I think the eero Pro 6 has been a great system for us. So thanks for watching. Hope the video helped.